All right, I really enjoyed listening to everyone's presentations on the different subjects. Um, First, I was going to talk about philosophy, and I agree with Rosie that when I first heard about high and low control, I thought both of them were really bad. Like, high was crazy strict, and low was just complete chaos. But now I've learned more about it, and I can see myself as a medium to high control teacher. I want to work with my students and give them freedoms in the classroom, but there are also certain ways that things need to be done. And so I think medium is a good balance between giving my students democracy, but also having control over what I think is important and necessary. For democracy, I really liked what Antoinette said about how democracy, our whole point as teachers, is to prepare students to participate in the democratic society that we live in, and democracy in the classroom is a great way to prepare students for that. I talked about in my management plan how I want to use class jobs and class meetings also, as was discussed in the different presentations. I think that class jobs give students a lot of ownership and a lot of purpose for coming to school. And it also helps students see why everyone is important and needed in the classroom, just as they can contribute valuable things to society as well. And I think class meetings are a wonderful opportunity for students to practice skills of dealing with difficult things and discussing in a respectful way differences in opinions and issues that are going on, which I think is something that we kind of struggle with in society now. For motivation, I've never really liked extrinsic motivation. A lot of the things that we used in my class I just had poor experiences with because I always tried to be the best that I could when I was in elementary school, and when I had to give up whatever that extrinsic motivation was, like the class money or something, I just felt horrible and awful inside. But I liked what Aubrey said, that you should use extrinsic motivation not for educational reasons, but for behavior reasons. That was a different perspective that I think is a good way to use it. What I said in my management plan is I want to use class goals, and for extrinsic motivation, students can get points when the class is reaching those goals, and then it can be a class party. The class will help me decide what they want their reward to be for their class. And so, and then for intrinsic motivation, everyone talked a lot about how we can build intrinsic motivation, and I think a big thing that we can do is giving students opportunities to succeed in different areas, because I think when students succeed, especially when things were very challenging, that's a great motivator that they can do hard things and that they're proud of what they've done. I also think drawing on interests, like was discussed, is really important, because then students are able to see the purpose behind what they're doing and the direct relationship to their lives and what they're doing. And then for prevention, I think what stood out to me the most from the presentations was what Amanda said about how rules should be presented positively. I know that I've had several discussions with people about how if you say, like, don't talk, really what students are hearing is the word talk, and you don't really associate the don't. But if you phrase it positively, where it's listen quietly to the teacher, then students are thinking about listening and not about talking. So I think that's really important. I also liked how they talked about that rules and procedures help students feel safe. And I want my classroom to be structured and ordered, and I think rules and procedures help students know what they can expect and to feel like they're in a classroom where there is control and it's not chaotic, when a lot of students have chaotic lives. Finally, with the learning environment, I really like what Kristen said about planning our classrooms not just for ourselves but for our students, so that it's a positive environment for them and it's inclusive of all of our students. I also liked how people talked about greeting your students, making sure that it's a happy, positive environment, and that we can bring our faith into it by trying to incorporate the Spirit into our activities without specifically referring to the gospel, and making our environment positive that way, where students feel safe and welcome. So yeah.